we get these reactions to food that we never had before. And we just want to continue to push the science forward. We want this available to the masses. We want to give the body what it says it needs based on your own roadmap, your genetic profile, to give you that fighting chance.
Welcome to the I Am Pain-Free podcast, where we dive deep into the world of natural health solutions, exploring innovation and innovative ways to heal and to thrive. I'm your host, Rob, and today we're embarking on a fascinating journey into the world of genetics, nutrition, and personal health transformation. Three very important things in our lives. So our special guest, Kim Ressler, is the founder of SNP Neutrogenomics. She's here to share her incredible story and how her organization is revolutionizing the way we approach health and wellness through, guess what? The lens of our own unique genetic makeup. So that's really intriguing and really exciting. And I want you to listen into this amazing episode. Get ready to be inspired by Kim's journey from health challenges to discovering the power of nutrigenomics and how it's not just about what we eat, but how our bodies uniquely process and utilize those nutrients, whether we're battling with chronic pain, looking for ways to optimize our health, or just curious about the intersection of genetics and nutrition. This episode is packed with insight stories and actionable advice that can change the way you think about your health. So tune in as we explore the cutting edge of natural health solutions and learn how personalized nutrition based on genetics might just be the key to unlocking your best health ever, right? So let's dive in and discover how to become pain-free naturally and faithfully with the incredible insights from Kim Ressler. Hey, this is Rob from the I Am Pain-Free podcast, and I am so excited. I have an amazing guest today. We're going to talk about some exciting items, and we're going to talk about your health. We're going to talk about genetics, and we're going to talk about nutrition, and we're going to talk about the amazing woman, Kim Ressler, and her story and how she started this amazing organization called SNP Neutrogenomics. And I think you're going to really be interested in understanding what she does and why she does it and how she does it. And we're just blessed to have you here. So Kim, thank you so much for joining us.
No, Rob, thank you for having me here today. It's so great to meet you. I've heard so many wonderful things about you and the information and education you share. So thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, we're just excited. And as we talked about, I'm very just interested in helping people get healthy, right? Naturally and faithfully is my mantra. And, obviously pain is a big deal. That's why I started this I Am Pain-Free podcast, is I really want to get people healthy and get people off of big pharma drugs, right? Last thing we want is the people to keep being addicted on these drugs that they keep taking. It's a pill for an ill in our society today. And I love the work that you're doing. So I'm super interested just to learn your story, Kim. So I'd love to, maybe go back and it's like, well, what got you into doing what you're doing today from our earlier conversations? Like, wow, you have an amazing story. So let's dig into that real quick.
Well, I guess it stems back to 2007 when I was pregnant with my baby girl. And they saw some interesting things in my blood work. And so they were sending me to specialists during my pregnancy. Every month I was going and having blood work done. Anyway, after the delivery of my daughter, they never found anything. They never told me what they found, but I was doing everything epigenetically correct. So epigenetic means I was eating whole foods. I was eating a really good diet. I was getting exercise. I am good about my water intake. So those are epigenetics, right? Everything that we do, it's our lifestyle. Right. I was doing everything right, but it was one symptom after the next. It was always exhausted, terrible sleep. Then came the terrible digestion, and the things, they just kept compounding and compounding. And I was looking for answers, and I started trying absolutely everything. You name it, I did it. Vegan, I did crazy cleanses. I went on a completely Ayurveda diet for over a full year.
What is that? I haven't heard of that diet. What diet is that?
Well, it's just eating very bland based on your doshas. And, again, I was under the care of a provider trying to get my energy back, to get some stamina back. I was always just exhausted.
Wow.
By the time And so, there were so many things I tried. Naturopaths, treating adrenal gland fatigue, extremely expensive, electromagnetic therapy, you name it, I was trying it. And I did this for 11 years.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I mean, that's
So,
just horrible, right? That you had to
well,
have
no,
to,
it was like nothing. I would try all these different things and I might feel a little bit better for a little
right?
bit of time, but it didn't have the stay power.
Okay.
And I believe it was around 2014, 15, my girlfriend was sharing with me information about her son, and she thought and she was not willing to put him on a pharmaceutical, and
No, good for her.
she felt it was with behavior, and she thought it was really with one specific gene. And I watched her spend $10,000 in 9 months on one gene. And I said, you've got to keep me posted. And she did. And she said it's a night and day difference. They took gluten out of the child's diet and they addressed one genetic marker, and night and
Okay.
day difference of a kid. And I was like, wow, I wonder if this could have a long term health benefit for me. Because by this point, once we hit around 2018,
Right.
I would wake up with just burning. My joint mobility was terrible.
Oh
And
no.
I never felt good. What's life worth living if you don't feel well?
Yeah.
So my husband kept saying to me, when are we going to start this process and get genetic, do the whole genetic mapping? And I said, sweetie, you know what? It's expensive. It takes time and it's expensive. And within a couple of days, the technology that I'm currently working with landed in my lap. And I was like,
Oh wow.
wow. So let's fast forward. Ultimately, I was just like, how can you can simply and easily do this. We're the time and age right now. You're not going to wear a size 13 shoe when you wear a size 9. We need things that are customized and personalized, and it's available. And this isn't a technology that just the amazing athletes should have access to, or just the rich. The masses should be able to have access to this. So
Right.
this is kind of what led me down this path. And we literally have the ability now to formulate, and we'll talk about this, but we have the ability to formulate on 22 actionable SNPs. And SNPs are basically, if you're looking at your genetics, SNPs are where there's maybe a hiccup, something that doesn't quite function properly. And the reason they're called actionable is because science has proven that these genes, we can influence how they react and how they behave. In other words, optimizing genetic expression through nutrition. So that's what nutrigenomics is, the study of nutrition based on genetics. And we're
Okay.
looking at nutritionally actionable genes.
Wow, interesting. That's so interesting. So I've heard, a lot about genetic testing, right? You get the 23andMe and all these things. And I've been really leery of it, right? Because I'm very cautious about what I do with my health information. And I wouldn't say I'm a conspiracy theorist, but I do a lot of research and I see that there's a lot of nefarious use of our data. And so I've been cautious about some of these, and some of the people who own some of those companies. I'm just like, no way in heck am I going to get my information to them. So,
I
how do you guys
totally,
treat the DNA that we get to you, and who
I
does the processing for you?
I totally understand that. First, we're completely HIPAA compliant. Our lab is CLIA certified and CAP accredited. So we aren't looking to get your information so that we can sell it. I am only interested in actionable genes so that I can designate and formulate for you. Our lab doesn't even get your name. They get a barcode. We own our own panel of what we're looking at. We actually report on 103. Again, remember, I'm not interested in genes that tell me where you're from. I'm not
Okay, right.
interested in genes that tell me your propensity to have a unibrow. I am interested I
That's a
am
good one.
interested in genes that tell me what you need, why you need it, in what format, and with what cofactors for the proper absorption and utilization in your body. Those are the genes that I'm interested in.
That's fascinating because I
So
have
our
been
lab, again, you become a
no.
barcode. They don't get your name, and then it just dynamically it shares your information dynamically back into your own personalized portal. But again, we're not looking at we're I'm not looking. I wouldn't say I'm looking at quote unquote disease genes. So we're not looking at that. We're looking at nutritionally actionable genes for a very specific reason to be able to customize a formula just for you.
Oh, interesting. So when people, come to you and say, "Hey, I just don't feel well. I'm not sure what the problem is." What is that process? Obviously, there's a process of getting the DNA, but I don't even want to assume. Just why don't you tell me what is the process? What
Well,
do you
it's
do?
not just the person that doesn't feel well. It's the person that wants to optimize their life, right? I mean,
Okay.
like we said, what's life worth living? So we all say that, hey, we've inherited this or that from parents, right? And oh, well, and if you looked at my report, you would see I've got a lot of heart markers. I've got a lot of things that impact, and it absolutely makes sense. It's what I've inherited. But what's the process is it is a swab at home, simple swab
Okay.
inside. We're looking at, we need the skin cells from inside, the
Okay.
epithelial cells. I should just pronounce that correct. Epithelial cells
Epithelial
and
cells. I like it.
epithelia. And we do a swab inside the cheek. We do both sides because our lab is CLIA certified and CAP accredited. We do two swabs, one left, one right, to make sure we get enough skin cells. I will not allow us to churn out any information unless we know it is accurate. Anyway, so it's really simple. It takes our lab, we takes about 21 business days to yield results. We see things come out quite a bit more frequently. And then in your portal, it's dynamically delivered and you get an email saying, hey, I've got my results. And we tell you right then and there how we are going to formulate just for you based on what we've delivered. But that's the
So do
process.
you
It's really simple.
that's really interesting. So do you just is it different for everybody just because of the problem that they're having, or do you just take uh, the gene? This is fascinating. This is literally the first time I've had this conversation with you, so I don't know the answer to these
That's
questions.
okay.
When you are taking my DNA, and let's say I just have a lot of joint inflammation and pain, and I send that in and they give you back my markers, do you change the formula based upon my problem, or do you do it just based upon the information that comes back, the markers that come back?
Okay, so let's talk about the problem, all right? And
Okay.
because you keep
Yeah.
saying the problem, all right. We are born with our genetics. Those aren't ever changing. They're never
Yeah.
changing. If you are predisposed to having inflammation, if you are predisposed to having detox issues, if you're predisposed to having gut issues, that's what I see. I
Okay.
see the gene's ability, whether it has no markers and it has the propensity to function optimally. Now, if I'm going to go eat McDonald's cheeseburgers every day, and I'm so sorry I shouldn't say it like that, but that's totally, that's an epigenetic. I can change things. They are like, that's not healthy. It's not eating whole good foods, right? But I can see immediately where your markers are to tell you what you need and why. Let's talk about one specific gene. This is going to make some sense. Okay.
Okay.
We have a gene. It's called the NQO1 gene. Okay. Have you
Is
heard
it
of CoQ10?
MQ01? Is that right? Say it again.
NQO1.
Okay. Got it.
Okay. Have you heard of CoQ10 energy?
Yes.
Okay. CoQ10 is good for heart health, energy in the body, etc. However, if you have markers on, this designates what type. Do you need a biquinone? Do you need a biquinol? Or do you need a combination of both? And I can see that through there. So when I churn that out, whether you have no markers and when you don't, your body can absorb and utilize a biquinone. If you have a marker, you may need both. And if you're homozygous, when we don't go down the medical, we give you really simple green, yellow, and red. Green meaning it has the propensity to function optimally. Yellow, you need some support. Red, you need even additional support. So this is where this beautiful thing comes into. I can see based on your markers. Can you process normal folic acid? Do you need folate? Etc. This is
That's
what your
that's
genetics. So when you say problem,
yeah.
genetics aren't a problem. I mean, and what they are is it's like a hiccup. You've got a hiccup, but nutritionally, this is my own roadmap. This is what I inherited. It's not going to change. And this is the way I can offset it through nutrition that was
Uh,
customized just to me. So yes, each individual's formula literally is made just for them based on the 22 actionable SNPs that we take a look at.
That's interesting. So I do talk a lot about, one of the things we need to get back to is proper nutrition, right? And
Mhm.
the starting at the beginning, which is your gut health, right? Because if your gut isn't healthy, then your body's not going to process things effectively. And so what I'm hearing you say is that this takes it even obviously a much more sophisticated step above that. And it's
Mhm.
saying your specific body can only process these particular minerals, or at least has a difficult time with this processing this mineral. So if you have a difficult time with processing this mineral, then you need to do X, Y, and Z in order to get that mineral into your body. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I mean, so our product is called Code Complex.
Okay.
Okay. It's a complex product, but it's simple. It looks like this. You want to see
Okay.
it?
So
It
complex
literally,
meaning just multiple things, maybe, right?
yeah,
Rather than it's being complex. There we go.
it
There's your
literally has an individual's name on it. That's mine,
right.
right? Okay. So we are looking at, so the bonus is all these amazing reports that you get, right? But we're looking at, let me just name the categories.
Okay.
We are looking at gut microbiome,
Okay.
inflammation, detox, the body's ability to detox. So inflammation might be hitting in, but you may have inflammation because you're not detoxing properly.
Right.
We look at healthy body mass index, energy, mood. These genes can impact your mood,
Right.
cognitive and brain function. Let's see, healthy heart. Those are some of the categories. So we all of these one gene doesn't play alone, they play together, and so we start mapping it out and doing it by body system where you get benefit. This isn't the end all be all. This is foundational nutrition. It's
Right.
plant-based
Right.
nutrition, vitamins, minerals, micronutrients. But what makes it very special is all of the cofactors. So maybe if I have a methylation issue, I really need TMG and choline for the proper absorption and utilization. We put it all together for you. You don't have to know that.
Got it.
Does that
Got it.
help?
Right. Yeah, that's what's so neat because it does get scientific and it does get, the word complex is, I don't want to mix it with your product. It becomes complicated.
It is. It is
For
complex.
it.
I mean,
Yeah.
it is complex because ultimately, if somebody did my genetic mapping
Yeah.
and they said, "Oh, okay, you need to take this," I'd suddenly have, I think I've got over 80 ingredients in my supplement.
Wow.
I mean,
Yeah.
I couldn't, I know that there's people out there that are taking, a ton of different things, but quite frankly, not the masses. Most people can't do that. Not it's too many. It's like a sci-fi movie. Too many pills, the cost, etc. So again, we're not meant to be like, if I had a very specific condition that my doctor was working with me on naturally, let's say a bladder condition, and I
Yeah.
needed aloe, that's not what genetics is going to touch. I am covering all these other body systems to help you function and help you age the best that you can and
I
feel the
love
best
that.
that you can.
Yeah, and that makes total sense to me because you're giving your body the ability to utilize the nutrients in a way that it can specifically absorb, right? Whereas my wife, for example, she may have not be able to absorb the same nutrients that I can, correct?
Correct. Or and
Yeah.
it's not that it's in the format that they're in, right? So
Okay.
you may need different things in different formats. So
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, so that's just so fascinating because I love it because if we can give your body what it needs, I'm a faithful person, so I believe that God made our bodies, wonderfully and fearfully, and that He did make it really complex, but it can also heal itself, right? It can heal. You cut yourself, and it automatically will start to work and end up healing itself over time. And I believe inside our internals will do that same thing if we can give it the proper nutrients
that
that
is
it needs,
exactly what I
right?
say. Give the body what it needs, the body does what it needs to do.
Yeah.
After addressing my genetics, everything changed for me. My sleep, my digestion, my energy, my joint mobility. I mean, I felt like I'd gained 10 years back. And,
The-
it wasn't the previous 11 years of constantly looking for a solution. I now have me foundationally. Yeah, every once in a while, if something's going on, I may do a little bit of additional, but other than that, I'm covered and I feel great. And my blood
That's
work
fantastic.
looks amazing.
I was going to ask you back. Let's go back to the point where you found, they said that this technology fell into your lap and, then you started getting the nutrition. How long did it take for you to start feeling better?
That's a really good question. So many people say, "Do you feel it?" And it's for me, I did. I started feeling it virtually in the first month. that
Wow.
I was addressing my genetics. Month 2, I didn't feel as well though. Our
Okay.
bodies, so you've got these quote unquote pathways, these genes, they're either functioning optimally or they're not. And in month 2, I think my body was just starting to get rid of some of the things that needed to get rid of. And so I don't know that I would, it was basically my response to the customized. I don't know if you would call it, and detox is not always good, but my body was releasing and getting rid of something. So by
Right.
the end of,
Right.
and that was month 2, month 3, I just was feeling amazing. Month 4, that's when my total joint mobility, I was like, wow, this is really nuts. And I felt great. My husband, on the flip side, and I have to share this, my husband he doesn't feel anything from the customized. He says, we in the day and age, I should be taking something that's right for me in the format for me. This is simple. This is great. He loves it. Where we
Right.
see his results, and we very much guide you through the reports. If you are, trying to work with your provider in a natural way, whatever, on blood work, but where we see his results is in all of his standard blood work, and his blood work looks fantastic. He feels
Ah,
good, but he didn't remember you are dealing with something different than what I'm dealing with. So this is just to give you your own roadmap, what you need and why you need it. Make it simple to give your body the nutrition that it needs.
right. Right. That is so amazing. And so I'm excited. Let's talk about your company. So
Yeah.
this technology fell into your lap and you just like, did you decide to create a company to do it? Obviously your personal transformation is exciting and amazing. And I think that a lot of people are going to find that inspirational. So let's talk
Yeah.
about what you did with it.
Well, I actually worked with the technology in a little bit of a different aspect before. And then in 2022 is when I said, okay, I want to continue to advance the
Right.
science. I want to continue to up level the ingredients. And that is where we launched in 2022 then, because I've been addressing my genetics longer. We
Right.
launched in 2022, and we went from 19 key actionable genes to 22 just
Okay.
in February.
Oh,
So
wow.
again, we formulated on 22. I don't know that it's going to be more than that anytime soon. There's only so much you can put into one jar, but
Right.
we brought in 3 additional vitamin D receptor genes. So we've got 4 VDR genes now in our panel. Vitamin D impacts everything in our bodies. You know it just as
Yes, I
well as
tell
I do.
people they need to go get some natural sun all of the time is one of my
But
three
it's
factors.
not just sunlight. I have a marker that my body is not able to convert what I get from the sunlight very well, even.
Really?
So I have to supplement,
So you have to
and I
supplement.
have to supplement. But anyway, so yeah, we support consumers. We support medical providers that want to ultimately treat their patient at a deeper level. And we just want to continue to push the science forward, we want this available to the masses.
Yeah.
That's what we want. I had a genetics doctor once she looked at my blood work. She looked at my genetics. She looked at my customized formula, and she said, and it really, I'll get chills every time I say this. She said, what she did was genetic mapping. And then she put people on all of these different supplements. And she said, I've never seen anybody with all the markers you have with your blood work that looks as good as it does. She said, you are 95% correct for 100% of the population. She said the other 5%, it's not that you're not correct for them. They just may need additional help and support. She said, this is fascinating. So again, that was her opinion based on what she did. But I get chills when I think about that. How could we impact the masses? I mean, there is the gene that's in the panel, and you've heard about it, and it's called methylation, and methylation is the big buzz. And
Yes.
methylation, people are like, what is methylation? Methylation in layman's terms, it turns on and off everything in our bodies. Methylation is just a component though, right? But if you look it up, and the MTHFR gene and all the symptoms, I mean, it's there are so many things that a natural folate that you can impact people. It's mind blowing of how we could serve children. I mean, and all kinds of things.
I love it. So
So,
let just give us one example, so what the that people can relate to. What do give us one methylation area that by knowing
okay.
that,
All
and
right.
it
So
can.
And I will say, again, I have a supplement. We don't treat, cure, diagnose, etc. But
Amen.
if you
Yeah.
look up MTHFR, gene mutation symptoms, you ready for the list? Anxiety, depression, schizophrenia, colon cancer, women in childbearing years can't have babies, spina bifida, common recurrent miscarriages, chronic aches and pains. Okay, so let's just go to, mood. Let's
That's
talk
quite a
about mood.
list. Yeah.
It
Okay.
is.
So we'll
Go
focus
Google
on
it.
the mood. All right.
That's what drugged me in. Remember, I told you my girlfriend was not willing for her son behavior to put him on pharmaceuticals, and
Yeah.
she addressed his methylation. And anyway, if you think about a very personal story of somebody that's very close to me does have some mood issues and went on this product and it just says, I just feel more stable. I just feel more grounded and stable.
That's awesome. That's important, right? Because there's so
Yeah,
many people, especially with the how stressful our society has gotten, that anxiety and depression is a real problem in our
right.
country, right? And
We
so,
want to give the body what it says it needs based on your own roadmap, your genetic profile to give you that fighting chance. And all of these young children now, one day, instead of I was talking to a doctor and she told me, oh, yeah, we're genetically swabbing every baby that's born so that we can track the medication they are on through life. I'm like, I'm sorry. Okay. Hello. Shouldn't we be looking at this from we are of the day and age that we're going to track what medication? How about we understand even if it was just methylation for that young baby, it has so much to do with development and everything else. What if we just knew that and we could serve these children at such a higher level of giving them the opportunity and chance to truly, you know, the right nutrients?
right,
That's
right.
it.
No,
That's it.
it's so exciting because you're right. I mean, like you mentioned, if we can give the body what it needs, the body can do what it needs to do, right?
Right.
And I love that because I'm a firm believer that God made our bodies incredibly, and if we just help it operate the way it's supposed to be, that it can then start doing what it needs to do. And then, of course, you may need to do other things. You may need to do a detox. You may need to do this. You may need to take extra, stuff that your supplements don't do, but at least you start you're fixing the base, right? You're giving it
It's
the
foundational.
foundation.
It's
Yeah,
foundational of understanding you. Inflammation is good when needed for that response, like you said, when you cut yourself.
right.
But does your
Yeah.
body overreact to inflammation? Does it know when to shut off? So we look at all of these different SNPs that impact all these body systems, like I said,
Yeah.
and they're the heaviest hitters. They have the science behind them. Everything that we do has complete peer-reviewed science behind why this ingredient is chosen for this marker,
Okay.
and then I know the clinical dose to give you based on your markers.
That's exciting. That's so
Yeah.
exciting. Well, I'm just very interested. How do people, learn more about you and what you're doing, and how if they wanted to get some help from you, how do they do that?
So they can go to www.snpnutrition.com. And Rob, I think they need to put the / pain free. So www.snpnutrition.com / pain free. And you can get a genetic test. Our genetic test, the retail price is $297. We report to you on 103 actionable SNPs. They are for future. 22 of those are currently being formulated on into the customized code complex. But they
Okay.
can get a genetic test from there. Our blog is so full of information about understanding other things. They can learn more there. We are just launching our own community for education and training as well, which we don't have a launch just yet, but one day we'll come back
Okay.
and we'll talk
It's
about
getting.
this again. But you want to give them a coupon code, right?
Yeah, let's do that. I think
Okay,
it'll be
so if
awesome.
they go to
Yeah.
snpnutrition.com / pain free, and then they enter pain free as a coupon code, let's give them $25 off their genetic testing. And I think you'll find that is extremely my goal. There's a lot of companies out there that do testing, and my goal is to be able to. We were talking earlier. There are companies out there that double, triple the cost.
Right.
I want to yield out to an individual the best amount of information on actual genes. That is what I'm interested in. What science has proven you can influence the gene through nutrition. So you're getting a lot of information. With that, also you get 11 reports. One's the code
Okay.
complex. One's the code complex report, which literally mirrors the product, telling you what and why. And it's written in a language we all can understand.
There
It's
you
written in
go.
six.
I like
Yes,
that.
there's medical terms. There
I
are
can even
medical terms in it.
understand it. Yeah.
But anyway, and then it gives you 2 bonus reports, one being a summary, a quick summary that was inspired by my husband. Remember, he's not going to do the deep dive. He wants the quick, I need support
Yeah.
here, and this is what I'm
Yeah.
going to get. And then our full SNP list, which has the 103 with the alleles. They are for future. And if you are dealing with something health-wise, you can take it to your provider and they can help dive down deeper. So, but all right, let's go back. So snpnutrition.com/painfree. And then the coupon code that you will use will be painfree, and it'll give you $25 off of your genetic testing. After
Awesome.
that,
Awesome.
we didn't talk about, do you want me to talk about how we customize real quick?
Of course. Of course. I
Okay,
definitely want to
really quick, I'll
understand that for
nutshell that.
sure.
These supplements aren't kept on the shelf. When they are ordered is when they get sent. We literally custom compound for an individual.
Wow. Interesting. That's
So
really unique.
we've got over 80 some odd ingredients. I should have that number, and I'm sorry, I don't. It changes. That could be possible combinations in
Oh,
your
yeah.
formula. So once it's ordered, this barcode on the back is what designates how they know when they scan it at my machine that can custom compound for you. So again, it is fresh, and then can be delivered to your door. We custom compound on a one-time basis, $169. And if you're on subscription, it's $149 per month. So there's a couple of different genetic markers, so that we call them blends or boost based on the genetics. If you pulled those out, there's 1 or 2 in there alone that you'd be spending almost that exact amount just on getting supplementation on those.
Yeah. I was
So,
going
and
to
we do
say,
this on
because it's not
22
just,
genes.
yeah, it's one thing that you take versus a plethora of things that
Exactly.
you could be taking, right? Yeah.
Exactly. I wanted
Yeah.
to pull it out. We do formulate if you are the powder person. We don't flavor it, but you can get it in powder format and mix it in with protein powder or, juice. I would never drink it with water. Or you can get it in veggie cap format. So we make that available for whatever the individual wants to do.
Wants to do. That's
Hmm.
awesome. So
Yeah.
exciting. What a wonderful time with you. Thank you so much for taking the time. I
No.
really appreciate learning more about just, genes therapy, basically, and understanding how to change and help people with their nutrition based upon their genes. That is
You
really
got
a
to start.
unique.
You got to start
Yeah.
with you. You're the one that
Yes.
dictates. Your body dictates what you need and why. And so I appreciate you because you are sharing out natural solutions, and we all know what we know until we know something different.
Right.
And I say that about we are constantly learning about ways that we can biohack to feel better, live longer, have better skin, have better whatever it is. And I appreciate that you are out sharing the information, because this is how everybody starts to learn about simple things that they can do to change their trajectory.
Yeah, and that's so important because the way that our medical system has been set up has just been wrong, right? It's just unfortunate that you are supposed to go to a doctor, and that doctor is supposed to take care of you, but the doctor that you go to has no understanding of all these types of things, which is so amazing. That's why we need to educate ourselves on our body. We need to educate ourselves on our options that we have, and this is a fantastic one. So I'm so excited to meet you, Kim, and what your amazing organization is doing, and excited to have people get help from you, and hopefully you can help transform their lives. I would love to have some case studies come back from people who have tried it, and I'm personally going to try it because I literally have been looking into some other solutions that are way more expensive than what Kim was mentioning. So I'll come back and let you know how things go for me as well.
Oh, I can't wait to hear your results and how you're feeling on the product. And yeah, the information and the stories that are shared are really mind-blowing.
I love it. Why don't you just spend just 1 minute on somebody else? What's another story that you can tell us?
Okay, a very recent one, a client had reached out at the time. We are doing a live Q&A tomorrow, and she's sharing her story. She was already she's in the health and wellness world. She's a physical therapist. She was taking a lot of supplementation, and her and I had met through a mutual friend. She said, "This is interesting. This makes sense. It's about me." Well, she had But remember, I told you there's ways that you can track it. One, symptom trackers. We always, when we feel better, we don't remember how we didn't. So maybe it's good to write it down. But she literally went and tracked her blood work over a 6-month period. And
Okay.
that is what we say to people. Red blood cell cycle is about 120 days. You've got to allow your body to go through that process and take the time. Supplementation, it's not just this magic pill, and this is letting your body do what it needs to do. Anyway, after 6 months, all of her testing, and especially, like, I want to be careful here, her blood work looked amazing, huge improvements. One thing that I can say very specifically was that her vitamin D level for the first time was in a good range. It over doubled. And remember, she is in the space, already was taking a ton of different supplementation. She's like, I am saving so much money. This is crazy. But her blood work and her blood results that she tracks with her provider were fantastic. So very pleased. She's got specific markers that relate to possibly long-term heart things. And she was very pleased with her blood work. So her doctor was so impressed when he saw her blood work. He's like, I need to learn about this.
There you go. There you go. See, we're gonna train the doctors one way or another, right? So might be through all of your patients that we transform a lot of doctors. But the good news is a lot of people are waking up to this issue that we need to take care of our own health, and we need to do our own research, and we need to start learning about things like Kim's wonderful organization.
I have one other one I think you'll really like.
No, I'd love it. Let's do it.
Okay. So one other thing that I have seen very commonly, as we age, a lot of times maybe we didn't have specific food allergies or specific food sensitivities. And maybe when things stop working quite right, we get these reactions to food that we never had before. So I have seen this very frequently, addressing the genetics, that maybe something that used to not agree with you, you're able to eat it now with and that's not, again, everybody's different and everybody's dealing with something different. But we have a woman that was virtually to the point of being able to eat next to nothing. And that has very much changed. This lady also couldn't even walk into a Macy's at Christmas time without, it would make her pass out. She was so sensitive to the smell. That's
I was going to say,
her response.
the aroma.
And she doesn't have those issues. So, again, everybody's dealing with something different. It's not the end all be all. It's not going to cure. We're not here to cure, diagnose, treat. We're here to tell you, this is your body. This is what science has proven we could give to you as your foundational supplement to support your genetic optimization, to optimize your genetic expression.
That's super, super exciting. So, Kim, thank you so much. I really appreciate you
Rob.
sharing your wonderful story. And I'm so glad that you found this. I'm so glad that you got better, got rid of all the pain and the suffering that you had gone through for 11 years. That is incredible. And then to create an organization and want to get this out to the masses, I think that's so important, because we need to get things inexpensive enough that everybody can afford them. And so I love what you're doing. Like I mentioned, I've been looking at things like what she does, and it was almost double the cost of what she is doing. So, if you're interested, go to snpnutrition.com and check her out. Use a /painfree. And then if you are interested, you get to use the pain-free coupon. You'll get a discount on her products and services. So God bless you, Kim. Thank you so much. And we're going to sign off from the I Am Pain-Free podcast.
This sounds great. Have a great day.
Thank you. Goodbye. If you enjoyed in this episode, you might be expecting a sales pitch for a pain relief solution. But here's a pleasant surprise. I'm offering a 3-episode pop-up podcast absolutely free. This exclusive 3-episode private podcast series is packed with more value than many paid programs out there. And getting access to this is a breeze. If you're listening on your phone, simply open up your text messaging app and send the word pain-free. It can be 1 or 2 words to 41-PAIN-FREE. So that's 417-246-3733. Again, that's 417-246-3733. If you're not a fan of texting, no big deal, right? Just visit impainfree.com. Super easy, impainfree.com. You can access this private podcast series instantly for no cost. All right? This isn't just any podcast series. We call it Beyond Pain, the triple B blueprint for pain-free existence. It really is a treasure trove of secrets, expert interviews, and a resource vault, all aimed at guiding you to live pain-free naturally and faithfully, right? That's my passion. It's a rare and value-packed resource that we're thrilled to share with you. So don't wait, just grab that cell phone, grab your text messaging app, type pain-free in there, and just send it to 417-246-3733. Or, like I mentioned, go to iampainfree.com and unlock this exclusive content, all completely free. God bless.